And we love our farmers. We're taking care of our farmers.
Make our farmers great again. That's what's happening.
Despite President Trump's proclamations of love for American farmers,
I love the farmers.
his spiraling trade war is hitting many of them the hardest, just as he's trying to energize them in a crucial midterm election where Republicans want to oust Missouri's Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill.
You need to go out and vote Republican.
But deep in Trump country, some are thinking twice about the impact their vote can have on their livelihoods. Soybean farmers are especially feeling the pain from China's retaliatory 25% tariff.
You know, faith, family, and farming is big here in the Midwest. And it's everything when it comes to soybean and the prices. You know, we understand what the administration's trying to do. However, getting to that point seems to be pretty difficult right now.
What Trump says he's trying to do is something that many farmers like Russell have wanted for decades: get better trade deals and stop trade abuses. But China has yet to blink in the trade confrontation, and Trump is asking farmers to stick out the painful negotiation process in hopes of a long-term win. But in the meantime, Chinese tariffs have shriveled up markets that American farmers spent time and money to grow, and shifted business to Brazilian producers and multinational corporations.
You know, it's kind of like we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater to a certain degree. I hate to start. You know, China purchases 1 out of every 3 rows of soybeans that are grown in the United States. And whenever you lose a market, it takes a long time to gain that back. It's going to take us a long time to gain back where we even were before it started.
When soybean prices took a nosedive as trade threats escalated into tariffs, producers like Russell and nearby Carroll County farmer and soil scientist Megan Kaiser were in the midst of planting this year's soybeans.
Since the tariffs have been in place, up until a couple days ago, it was about an 18% decrease, which was about $2 per bushel drop. And so the seeds that we put in the ground in April, they decreased while the seed was in the ground and producing 18%. If we don't have the markets to sell our grain, well, that just means we're going to spend a little less everywhere else. And we live in a global society, and so when we stop purchasing as much, we see the trickle effect, particularly in our rural communities.
Trump is trying to staunch the losses for farmers and their communities with an aid package that could give as much as $12 billion to impacted industries. But without markets, Kaiser and many like her say it's a temporary fix.
We keep going back to, we can compete on the global stage, and we want to. We'd rather get our paychecks from the marketplace instead of the mailbox. We are hanging in the balance a little bit.
Democrats and some Republicans are criticizing the insufficiency of trying to supplement aid for trade. And in Missouri's closely watched Senate race, it has become a rallying cry for McCaskill, who's launching the campaign of her career after Trump's large electoral victory in Missouri.
Beans are going to be under $8 at harvest, and I'm worried.
This trade war has been embarked upon, I don't think, in a way that was thoughtful, because it feels like a 2x4 and we needed a scalpel.
She's criticizing Trump's trade actions as short-sighted and attacking her Republican opponent, Missouri Attorney General Josh Hawley, for his lockstep support for Trump and the tariffs.
We want to go after China cheaters. That's what my goal is to actually go after the cheaters. And if we spent our energy going after the cheaters instead of blowing up markets, everybody'd be better off.
Meanwhile, Hawley says that Trump has farmers' priorities top of mind and needs to stand strong.
The status quo right now is not acceptable. The status quo from before was not acceptable. I think the president knows that. When he says we want open markets with no trade barriers, no tariffs, no subsidies, that's where we need to get to for our farmers, and we've got to keep pressing ahead.
For now, some farmers seem willing to give Trump and his supporters the benefit of the doubt, but they don't know for how long they can afford to.
You know, farmers are really patriotic. Out here in this rural area, people fly the flags, you know, and they vote. Obviously, we saw in our last election, we vote. And we want to be supportive of our country. Unfortunately, sometimes we always get hit in collateral damage when there's disagreements with other countries. How long can you continue to take a loss and still be able to survive?